So at the start of the class, quietness into child's pose. It's the start of our practice. So whichever variation you are into child's pose, whether having that blanket behind the back of your knees, head resting, arms settled. Start of the practice is to feel. So relaxing the weightlessness on the soles of the feet, the softness through your arms, softness of your hands, and the smoothness of your skin. Take it into a deeper level of through the body. So calm and easiness and opening the outer surface of your body. And then take your attention to your breath, as always. Ensuring that your breaths are full, deep, complete. And that your exhale has that same slow movement. It can be into a sigh. I want you to see if you can also have the stillness of your eyes. And so of course with the stillness of your eyes, it allows a little bit more of the settling. The outer edges of your ribs are supported by your inner thighs. So ensuring that your knees haven't flared open. You've got that connection as everything is in and yet still having space. Keeping of your eyes closed, I want you to bring yourselves up into table pose. So with your eyes closed, just allows a little bit more ease of focusing in, opposed to from the observation out. And that whole surface of your shins, all 10 of your toenails, all 4 sides of your palms down. Arms are long and strong, but taking into stillness. Stillness of your eyes, stillness of your body, but always the traveling of the breath. So just going to slowly warm up with the movement of the spine, with the cat and the cow. I want you to do it very gently. So your breath in allows your belly to lower, to expand, not dropping. And your exhale is almost as if it's a wave. The rounding of your back, the lowering of your head, and the release. And the movement with the breath, each breath is a little deeper, a little fuller. And in doing so, perhaps the waves stay with the soft movement, or maybe the waves a little fuller, a little deeper. But just ensure that it's that lovely movement, that gliding. No jerking, just a soft lift and lower. And with the patterns of your breath, with your next exhale, squeeze out your breath and take yourselves back to center and neutral, the leveling of your spine. You just lift your hands up one at a time just to shake your wrists out. Because even with the movement of the spine, there's that direct pressure down. And then actually the next variation with this, I want you to go into your knuckles. So just a little bit more ease through your wrists. And then take your hands just a little farther forward so there's that angle. Now in doing so, I want you to do shoulder push-ups. So when I say shoulder push-ups, squeeze your shoulder blades together and notice how your chest lowers down, but keep your torso long. And then slide your shoulders apart and giving more space. And so we're just going to do a few, sort of a sense of cat and cow, but just that movement. It's almost like a push-up. Arms stay still and the movement is just that space. And warming up the shoulders. And then I want you to find the balance of level And so opposed to your chest down or away, you've got that neutral lengthening. And then from here, take your left leg and extend it back, having the ball of your foot down. So just a stretching of the calf. And then just notice the position of your shoulders. Are they squeezed together, apart, or sort of using the strength through your shoulders, through your arms to take it to that neutralness. And then encouraging the lengthening of your extended back leg. And then change sides. So just lower your knee down. Extend this time your opposite leg back. So you're getting a sense of more space and lengthening across your Achilles tendon, sort of the sole of your foot. Achilles tendon, lower calf, and then how are your shoulders. So it's always that reminder of focusing on one alignment and extension and forgetting the importance of that posture. And then draw your knee in. And actually bring your hands back towards your knees and just shake your hands out. Even a little bit of a pulsing. So the pressure on, sometimes it's the wrist, sometimes it's the knuckles. So we'll find between the two. Actually, for the next one, take your hands onto your firm blocks. This is just going to put a little bit more weight back opposed to forward. And I want you to tuck your toes under. So this is just a little awareness. So take your sitting bones back towards your heels and your arms are long. And often I talk about having all four sides of your palms down. I'm just going to give a little thing. The ball of your index finger, I want you to make sure that that is as rooted down as all four sides of your palms. Because often what happens, there's almost a little bit of a cupping. They lift up. So that four surface of your palms down, all 10 pads of your fingers, and that rooting. Sitting bones back, I want you to lift yourselves up to a short downward facing dog. So knees up, heels back, but keep your knees really soft. And then what I want you to do is notice where your head is. And so in soaring sewing, you say more the length. I want you to take your shoulder blades back, your head a little farther towards the ground. And almost just do almost like you're a bear sliding up and down the wall. Just sort of notice, often when we're in sew, shoulder blades are almost drawing in and your ears are squeezing to your upper arms. So I want you to have that space and the softness through your shoulders. And then lower your knees down and tuck your toes. And I'll get you to actually take the firm blocks just forward onto the mat. So again, really focusing on the connection, the whole surface of your palm, your fingers back. So as before, extend your left leg back and even peek down to make sure you have that direct line. Keeping the top of your right foot down, lift your left leg up so that it's horizontal. Now always here, always peeking down. So as you peek back, make sure your toes are down and so the back of your hips are completely level. Your leg strong. Do a little bit of movement with this. So keep your palms down. In breath, keep your legs long and strong. And we're going to do compression. So with your exhale, draw your knee towards your nose. And this time, the whole rounding of your back. Your chin to your chest, knee to your nose to your knee. And then slowly extending and lengthening back. So now as the movement through the front and the back of your body, we'll continue to do it. Noticing there's more ease of the neutralizing of your hips. So often as we extend one arm forward, we lose that neutral surface of your right shin down. So still using that compression, but keeping your feet or your hands anchored down. And the next time your knee and your nose are together, I want you to hold them together. And even though you've got the compression of them together, have a full breath in. Stay as you are, complete breath out. And then with your inhale, extend your leg back again so that it's horizontal and strong. And then extend your right arm forward. So imagine that you're lying onto the ground. So your back leg is extended, foot flexed. Your gaze is directly down and your right arm is reaching forward. Now, neutralizing of your hips, active through your core. See if you can close your eyes. So sometimes just the gaze upon something gives you the ease of balance. And so that soft closing of your eyes, you have to activate the length of your lifted body to hold that stillness. And then I'll get you to lower your knee down, lower your hand down, and softly sway your hips side to side. Even in doing so, it's nice to be bending at the elbows. And then we'll change sides. So come back to neutral. Lift your right leg up, your opposite leg. Make sure your toes are pointed down. You have the front of your core as activated as the back of your core. Okay, fingers planted down, neck long. We're going to do the compression. So keep your palms down and draw a complete breath in. And exhale, slow rounding of your back, compressing of your breath out by your knee towards your nose. There's no more space for your in-breath. And as you exhale, giving that space for your in-breath to allow that lengthening and ease. Again, eyes open or closed. And with this movement, your breath, you hear your breath a little more, so enjoy. And the awareness of balance of in to out as it's out to in. And the next time your knee and your nose are together, keep them together, squeezing, like you're holding a lovely grate between your nose and your knee, not wanting it to roll away. And then extend in length so that your leg is lifted and horizontal. And this time reaching of your left arm forward. So flare your fingers open, sort of power of energy from your fingertips. The horizontalness and strength of your arm, leveling of your spine, neutralness of your hips, extension of power of your leg. Maybe your eyes closed or open. Just make sure your breath stays deep and full. Sometimes focusing on balance turns into a bit of a gasp, so keep it smooth. And then place your hand down, your knee down, and take yourselves back into child's pose. Okay. This time in child's pose, your arms are forward. I want you to turn your palms up. And even a little bit of pulsing of your fingers. Just putting that movement back to your wrists. Releasing the weight. So place your palms down and walk your hands back to your knees. And we're going to bring ourselves up into kneeling. So with kneeling, a couple of options. You can have a blanket underneath your knees, or if you have a little cushy thing for that support, and tuck your toes under. Now, if you get cramping in your feet or they're not as happy, you can keep them untucked. But in this tucked outer, I want you to be directing of your sitting bones back toward your heels. No, your sitting bones back towards your heels. So if you can't have them tucked under, at least tilt yourselves a little farther back. Okay. And sweep your arms up to the sky so that they're vertical. And it's that same thing. Reach your fingers up and notice how your shoulders towards your earlobes. And then slide your shoulders down and almost open to a V so that there's no space for the length of your neck. Bring your palms together now and draw them down to heart center. And then the soft interweaving of your fingers, and press your palms away. You can still keep your thumbs touching and lift them up to the sky. And then the bending of your elbows and placing your hand underneath the back of your neck. And then that slow movement, lifting of your chin, support with your hands. And then the exhale, your hands just slide up the back of your neck, chin towards your chest. And let's all do it just one more time. Length in front of your body, your hands almost lifting of your head up. And then the complete releasing. As your chin towards your chest, even directing your elbows together. And then come back up to center. Take your weight off your heels so you can untuck your toes. Hands down. And that little paddling. A little bit of, as with our hands, pulsing of the fingers, now the pulsing of the toes. And then I'll get you to tuck your toes under again. And you can actually have your firm blocks with you. We're going to be taking ourselves up into standing, folded forward. So if you want, you can use the firm blocks or not. With your hands, press the firm blocks down. Lift your knees up and slowly direct your heels down, but keeping of your head hanging. And then as you're folded forward, hold onto your opposite elbow and sway side to side. Again, if you feel discomfort at your lower back, your forearms can rest onto your thighs with your knees bent a little more. Or not. Sometimes just the weight of your head gives you the releasing of your lower back. Place your hands now onto your hips, but I want you to keep your knees softly bent. Keep your spine long and hinge to standing upright. And then as you're standing upright, your arms down by your side. And turn your palms forward. So it directs your shoulder blades a little closer together, but still keep the softness of your chest and your eyes closed. So I have to talk about all four sides of your palms. It's the same, all four sides of your feet. Make sure your inner arches of your feet aren't dropping down or popping up. And then the strength of your legs. Lifting of your spine right to the crown of your head. Your fingers are soft, your eyes are closed, your breath is full. Keep your eyes softly closed. With your in-breath, lift your arms right up to the sky. Softly bring your palms together, and keeping your palms together, bending of your arms, and hinge yourselves forward and down, leading with your elbows. And then as you're folded forward, completely head down, hold onto your opposite forearm, and take yourselves a lovely swaying side to side. And then release your elbows. We're going to walk forward into a downward facing dog. So you have the options. You can have your hands onto the firm blocks or on towards your mat. Actually, to enter this pose, lower your knees down. So you can take your arms far enough forward. Now, if you're onto the firm blocks, I don't want you pushing the firm blocks away. I want it more directing of your palms down. And again, knees up, hips back, heels directed down towards your mat. And then just check again, are your ears being squeezed together between your upper arms, or you've got that space? So slide your shoulder blades apart, all four sides of your palms down, and go for a little bit of a walk if you're not already strolling. So working on the lengthening of your legs, your heels down. It's the same, the lengthening of the arms, but all four sides of your palms are already nicely planted down. And then back to stillness. I'm going to get you to bend your knees and place them right back down onto your mat. And untuck your toes. And then take your firm blocks up onto vertical. And we'll go into the lunge. So take your right foot forward and take that sort of adjustment to ensure that your knee's not ahead of your ankle. You've got that verticalness. And then check, is your foot rooted down? Peek back. I want all 5 of your toenails rooted. Put a little bit more weight onto your big toe to make sure that your heel doesn't drop out. Place your hands onto your knee and press your knee down to lift yourselves up. So you're giving yourselves between the torso and your thigh. Now, shoulders down. This is the initial working up of the hip flexor, opening up. Place your hands now down onto the firm blocks. The firm blocks can be whichever height, and I want you to straighten your front leg. When I say straightening, lengthening, but still keep your knees softly bent. This is the first time traveling into this pose. And then shift your weight forward. So planting down, all 4 sides, your foot, heads of your toes, hands onto your knee, press your knee down. To bring yourselves up. Now you can keep your hand onto your knee or bring your palms together at heart center. Just make sure that your lower ribs aren't puffing forward. You've got that growing. So your palms are together, not pressing, more just holding. We're going to go into reverse. So place your hands back down to whichever height. And again, slowly straightening of your legs. So your foot will be off the mat. And as you're doing so, the top of your thigh bone, ensure that it stays plugged into your hip socket. And you have the center of your heel down. So you can keep the ease through your thighs. Often there's that gripping. And then let's shift forward. So bend your front knee, planting of it down. Hands onto your knee. And bringing yourselves up. Hands can stay onto your knees. Perhaps your palms together at heart center. Or perhaps lifting of your arms up into a V. So not into vertical. Giving a V allows more ease of your shoulder blades to slide down. Breath is full. Place your hands back down onto your firm blocks. And we're going to go into reverse again, just as we have before. So your leg is straight. So working on the top or the back surface of your leg is lengthening, but keep it back towards your sitting bones. Your toes towards your shins. So you have that straightness and lengthening of your leg. I want it to be a mirror of your spine. So poster directing your nose towards your knee, shoulders back and extend. I want you to look past your toes. I'm going to change one more time. Front knee bent, foot down, and then step by step. First step, hands onto your knees and the lifting. Staying here or palms together at heart center. Your gaze forward, so all 4 sides of your neck is long. You can stay like this or opening up and towards a V. So I want you to have a sense as your hips are narrow by hugging everything into center. And stay into this position, whichever one you're at, but whichever one you're at, explore closing of your eyes. So all of a sudden our attention is to balance. So the sense is almost hugging your inner thighs in, but all 4 sides of your foot stays rooted down, including the top of your toenails. Let's all have a complete breath in. And on your exhale, we're going to go into reverse. So hands down onto the blocks, whichever height, or the mat, and that full straightening of your front leg. So hips are neutral. Okay. Whichever support and height. And this time, just allow your head to hang. So heads are heavy, let it hang. Torso is long, finding that tightness, that seam on the back of your leg. Allow it to soften. And then you know the strength of the breath to bring that ease. And even a sense of growing. So your torso is growing from the top of your hips to your lower floating ribs. Step by step up your ribs, extension of your neck, and then the soft hanging of your head. And staying in this position, I just want you to lower your little toe down towards the mat. It won't get down there all the way. A little bit of external rotation, and then just notice that the extension is not just down the center of your hamstrings. Explore where the opening is. And then just enjoy the support with your hands down at whichever height. Shift your weight a little farther forward now so your knee is bent, and you can just slide it back to take yourselves back into table pose. Shake your legs off, take a little bit of weight off your knees. And then we'll change sides. So take this time your opposite leg forward, planting it down. Just make sure that your toes point directly towards the front of the mat. Look back towards your heel to make sure it hasn't flopped off to the side. And then hands onto your front knee and straightening the arms to bring yourselves up. But as you're lifting up, I want your shoulder blades down so you've got that counterbalance. Your breath is full. Starting with the ironing out of your left hip flexor. And then take the pattern of the movement. So take yourselves back into reverse. So slowly working on the lengthening of the back of your hamstring. Your foot just softly lifting up. And again, so this is the rebound. Leg back, torso forward. Breath is full. And then we'll move forward. So bend your front knee, planting it down. Hands can stay onto the firm blocks as you did before, or on towards your knee. And as you're lifting your torso, the opening of your hip flexor. So your shoulders stay soft. Choose the position of your hands. The option of perhaps bringing your palms together at heart center. And just slowly taking your lower floating ribs back without sweeping your tailbone under. How's your breath? Keeping it moving. And then we'll go into reverse. Hands down. Front leg straightens. And this time directing your toes a little closer towards your shin. And the exhale, you can exhale sometime are quite lovely, just a sigh. This can be very tight, the muscles at the back of the leg. So sigh can just smooth it out just a little bit more. And then we'll move forward. Plant your foot down. Torso as you're growing from hands to firm blocks, towards your knee, perhaps into prayer. And then you can take yourself as you choose from prayer up into a V. So again, choosing. So if your arms are up, imagine that you're hanging from a branch to giving that lengthening, keeping your hips down but your arms lift and long. And then we'll go backwards. Hands down. Leg extends. Toes up. Head hangs. And then tuck your shoulder blades back. So actually tucking your shoulder blades back, take your gaze forward. So you're ensuring you have that extension lengthening of your spine. And then the choice perhaps of your head to hang or keeping it just looking just past your toes. See if we can lengthen up our legs. Again, a few more sighs in the exhale. Smoothing out tightness of the muscles. Just like the smooth movements of the waves. movement of your breath, the opening of the hamstrings. And then we'll move forward. So bend your front knee, plant it down, choosing the height, fingers onto blocks, hands onto knee, palms together at heart center, up towards the V. Figure out the one that's best for you. Hold that spot and close your eyes. So as you're closing of your eyes, make sure that your hip flexor stays long. Your left hip flexor, make sure it doesn't shrink. Again, decide which tree, which branch you're hanging from. Even if your palms are together, shoulders are down. You're giving that lengthening. Eyes are still. Breath is full. And then let's go into reverse. Hands down, slowly lengthening and straightening of your front leg. Direct your toes a little closer towards your shin. And just find, perhaps it's a little looser this time, gone through step by step. It's a great time just to ensure that your head hangs and your shoulder blades slide apart. And from here, taking your little toes towards your mat, enjoying the opening and lengthening. Back of your hamstrings, perhaps more to the outer seam of your leg. And bring yourselves back to center. As before, bend your front knee. And this time we'll step forward. So just tuck your back toes under, pick up your knee, and just sweep your leg forward. And as your feet are forward, I want you to take the inner edges of your feet together. Place your hands on your hips. So keep your knees just soft. With your spine long, hinge yourselves, just standing upright. And arms hang down by your side. And eyes closed. Let's be a magnet of drawing your inner legs together. It's the trunk of the tree. There's always a little bit of a soft movement. Make sure there's no gripping. Just allow your fingers to be heavy and hang. In Tadasana, mountain pose. Take your feet apart now so that they're hip distance apart. And in breath, sweep your arms forward and up to the sky. And I want you to swan dive. So take your arms out to the side, almost guiding with your chest to take yourselves down towards your thighs or your shins. And let's do 3 half lifts. So in breath, press your hands to your legs resist to lift up halfway. And soft exhale down. In breath, lifting up. And then travel down. Let's do it one more time. Extension, fullness, giving yourself space for your in-breath, and the ease of your exhale to softly lower down. And place your hands onto either the mat or the firm block. Step your left leg back, right to the back of the mat. So you've got a big, long position. And then as before, place your hands onto your knee and press yourselves up into crescent pose. Take your arms out to the side now so that they're horizontal. And I want you to open. So lower your back heel down and turning your chest to face to the side of the mat for warrior 2. Now in doing so, make sure you have that aligning heel to inner arch of your back foot, ensuring that your knee is opening Turn your palms up. In-breath, straighten your front leg and lift your arms up to the sky. And then bend your knee, arms out and down as if you're pressing air that's heavy and settling, perhaps a little lower. And then in-breath, palms up, lifting of your arms, straightening of your leg. And then glide right back down into warrior two. Again, lift, straighten, extend, and then fly back down into warrior two. Now in warrior two, I want you to give yourselves a hug. So your front arm, give yourselves a hug, is underneath your back arm. And then from here, you can stay into hug, or you can bind it into warrior two. So you have that space directly between your shoulder blades, but I want you to make sure your shoulder blades descend down. Still keeping your feet rooted, your knee open, your legs strong. Slide your arms out now, back into warrior two. Take them behind your back and interweave your fingers and direct your knuckles down. So we're using the power of our legs in warrior two. Perhaps keeping your knee bent. You might need to straighten it a little bit. Firing up of the legs. And then take your arms back out into warrior two. And windmill your hands down onto the firm blocks. Unwind and lower your left knee down and untuck your toes. We're going to go into reverse. Actually, no, I've changed my mind. Take your front foot and walk it to the outer edges of your mats. We're going to go into lizard, but lizard's a little bit different this time. Often in lizard is your knees out to the side, the sole of the foot lifts up. What I want you to do is keep all four sides of your foot down, but directing of your knee to open. So you won't go out as far, but just a little bit more lengthening. But keeping of your left hip flexor long. So again, not going down as far, but just that initial external rotation. Just as we had in warrior two. So in this pose, draw your knee back in, and I want you to take your right toes and pivot it. So your toes will be off the mat, but your heel will stay on the mat. Tuck your back toes under. Actually, it's a little bit easier if you take your firm blocks to its highest level. Pick your back knee up, and I want you to sweep your back foot forward so all of your toes are off the mat, yet your heels are. And then just sway side to side. So it leaves a little bit of balance and strength to take steps forward. And then walk your feet in so now that they are hip distance apart. Let's all have a lovely half lift on your in-breath, extending and lengthening, filling of your body. And then place your hands down and step this time your right foot as far back as you can. Warrior two is quite a long pose. Sweep your arms up to the sky. So first take yourselves into crescent pose and then opening of your arms into warrior two. So checking the alignment of your front knee to your little toe, looking towards your back leg. Ensure it's strong. Arms are horizontal. And we're going to do 3 liftings. So turn your palms up. In-breath, straighten your front leg and lift your arms up to the sky. And then exhale, pressing down, giving that lengthening. In-breath, lift. See if you can have equal length on both sides of your torso. And then exhale down, settling into warrior two. One more. Straighten your front leg. Lift fingertips right to the sky. Ensure that your back leg stays straight as you bend your front knee into warrior two. Virabhadrasana 2. So we're going to hug from here. So take your front arm and cross it underneath your back and give yourselves a hug. Just check to make sure your front knee is aligned to your little toe. And then you can stay into a hug or you can bind your arms. Just decide which way. Even though you're hugging or bound, shoulders down. So see if you can almost lengthen your neck a little bit more so. Front knee is bent and strong. And then open. Back into Warrior Two, Virabhadrasana 2. And then take your arms behind your back and interweave them the funny way, the way that you're not used to. Draw that down. Shoulders. So as your knuckles are directed down towards the mat, your shoulder blades bottom are following. So stillness through your torso and the different variations. Stillness from your hips down. Variations through your shoulders out. Let's all travel back into Warrior Two. And we're going to fly our hands down to the mat to lower your back knee down. Untuck your toes and take your front foot to the outer edge of the mat. So ensure you keep all four sides of your foot rooted down just as we do standing, and just start to direct of your knee to open. So you got the firm blocks, whichever height. So sort of blending together the opening, the lengthening, and yet holding. So we're going to transfer for here. So your front foot, pivot it so that your toes are off the mat. And tuck your back toes under. Again, you might want the blocks on a higher level. Pick your back knee up and see if you can softly fly forward and your feet on the outer edge of the mat, or your toes on the outer edge of the mat, and just sway side to side. Place your hands onto your hips and bring yourselves into standing upright, but still keep your feet apart as they are into the V and swaying of your hips. So we're going to take ourselves into a little bit of a more challenging pose. I want you to take your two firm blocks, whatever you have, and stack one on top of the other and place them just behind. We're going to be sitting on them. So we're going to start having that height. So from here, just the first one to make it a little bit easier, I want you to draw your knees out and bend them. Then place your hands down onto your firm block or onto the mat and slowly set yourselves back down. So you got the idea of the landing, and if you need to move your firm blocks farther back. Beautiful. Extend your arms forward and take your elbows into your inner knees and just give them a little bit more opening. Bring your palms together. Tilt yourselves forward and either use the assistance of your hands on the firm block or rock yourselves forward, keeping your hands up, and bring yourselves back into standing. Powering it with thighs. Okay, we're going to go back down again, and you choose. You can have your hands down or keep your palms together. Just make sure you know where you're landing. So slowly bend your knees, even look back, and slowly sit down onto the firm blocks. Good job. So we're going to do it again, and I'm going to give you an option. We're going to go up again. You can choose next time we go down if you're on 2 blocks or 1. Okay, so first, press your feet down, straighten your legs, lift yourselves up. And then you choose. We're sitting ourselves into a pose called Malasana. So you can keep the 2 blocks there, or maybe take 1 away. Just make sure you got the right landing spot. Okay. Again, options. You take your fingers onto the mat, 2 blocks, 1 block, and slowly bending of your knees. I'm going to say tilting of your body forward so you can look down and perhaps sit down onto 1 or 2 blocks. It's the intention of balance is landing. Open both of your arms again to draw your shoulder blades together and your heart to open. And then bring your palms together. Okay, you can stay right here if you're happy as can be, or we'll do it one more time. So you choose. If you're coming up, feet down, tilt yourselves forward to bring yourselves into standing upright. Big breath in and sigh out. Here we go. We're going to travel down. Perhaps you can go down without even a firm block. So if you float high in Malasana, you can knock it aside as you go down. Okay, knees bent, tilt your body forward, and slowly lower yourselves down. 2 blocks, 1 block, or floating into Malasana. So everybody place your left hand onto your left knee and straighten your right arm forward and give yourselves a little bit of a twist. So your right arm forward and extended back, left hand on your knee, turning towards the side. And then we'll change sides. Palms together. This time extend your left arm forward. Your right draws your right knee back. Give yourself just a little bit of a twist. Bring your palms together. And we're going to go right down to the mat. So place your hands down onto the mat. You might need to shift behind your firm blocks or not. And then I want you to just wrap your hands, your arms around your shins and your head to hang. It's called Balasana. It's quite an opening pose. And then bring yourselves up. So we're doing a little bit more power in this class, but we are strengthening, we'll change. But first we're going to go into boat pose. So I want you to stack one firm block on top of the other. Take your hands back and place your heels onto your firm blocks. So this just gives a little bit of assist of the lifting and the balance. Okay. So your hands are back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together so your chest is open. And then take your hands behind the back of your thighs. So if you have a strap, you can do that. But taking yourselves, keeping that stillness of your spine to the changing of the arms. So you've got that growing for your torso and your thigh. And then take your right leg and lift it up. So it's more of a 90-degree angle. It's horizontal. Lower it down. Keep your spine long and strong. And then lift your opposite leg up. Lower your heel down. Tuck your shoulder blades together. Activate your core. So you can take both of your feet off the mat. Or just hovering. You find that place. Breath in. You can keep a strap of your hands behind the back of your thighs or allow it just to be touching but just a little bit more light. And again, make sure your heart doesn't drop back. Keep it forward. Place your heels onto the firm blocks. Wrap your hands around your legs and allow your head to hang. Okay, we're going to fly one more time into boat pose, Navasana. Actually, everybody place your hands behind and press them back. So you've got that extension and elongation of your torso. Keep it that way. And either strap or your hands and lift up, both legs up. Now, let's keep your hands there or soft holding or maybe extending it forward. So it's shoulder blades together, your heart forward. Actually, take your legs together. Are we breathing? Breath in. Your arms are strong, just like your legs. A smile is a great thing. We're having fun doing this. And perhaps straightening the legs a little more. So you're directing your chest towards your thighs, your knees up. Have a breath in. And then on your exhale, take your feet apart, place them down onto the mat, and wrap your hands around your shin. Yay! It's always a good pose. In boat pose, it's always important to keeping that elongation of your spine without the rounding. Direct more strength through your core. And then bring yourselves up. And extend your legs forward. And have your firm blocks near the front of the mat. So we're going to go into a deer or boat pose a little bit. Going to give you the options. So what I want everyone to do is first take yourselves into deer pose. So deer pose is giving that direction of your shin parallel with the front short end of the mat and your back shin along the side of the mat. So folding forward in this variation, the firm blocks are quite nice. If you prefer to go into pigeon pose, then just direct your front knee and point your toes towards your back knee, and then extend your back leg back and roll forward. So you make sure that your right sitting bones is off the mat. And again, the firm blocks to support your head. Your option is to stay into deer pose. It's a little bit easier onto your knee. And even into deer pose, if you're folding directly over your front shin, it's quite deep. You find whichever variation is best for you. And your head to hang, whichever variation that you're at. And this is actually a great time to a little sigh. No, I'm going to say a big sigh. So have a full breath in. Breathe into all four sides of your torso. And a sigh on the exhale. Just ensuring that your back leg is at ease. And if you're into pigeon pose, your leg is long and more weight onto your big toe. If you've chosen to be into deer pose, just ensure your back leg is at ease. Your feet are flexed, but not a sense of gripping. And as you know, any pose that you're in, if it feels like it's almost getting tighter, then come up a little bit and make whatever adjustment and then settle down. And if you're just feeling a little bit more ease, the muscles are softening, then perhaps maybe lower yourselves a little farther down. Never taking yourselves into a pose as far as you can. It's that drifting. It's like that slow drifting of the waves. It's a slow lowering of your body down into whichever variation of these poses. The pose is deer pose, which is just a variation of pigeon pose. Pigeon pose is a variation of a soul pose called Ekapada Raja Kapottanasana. Ekapada is one leg forward. Raja is the center. Kapottanasana is the opening. Ekapada Raja Kapottanasana. Took me a long time to learn that one. It just represents all the different alignments and the opportunity of the releasing. Let's slowly come up, very slowly. And swing both of your legs forward to the front of the mat so you can take it into the windshield wiping. Real slow. Windshield. And then we'll change sides. So this time your opposite shin forward. So I'm going to do it the same just so you can see it. And then the option of keeping that direct line across or pointing your toes back towards your back knee and then extending of your leg forward and pivoting up and settling down. And as you know, many poses to travel into it, settle down. It feels like something's just not quite. Then come out, give a little shake out, and then travel back in. So the opening, I'm going to put it together. And of course one side perhaps is a little tighter than the other. So allow yourself more of a drifting down opposed to reaching. See if you can go as far as the other side. It's to have that ease, and each time we do it, brings a little bit more of a balance. The tight side loosens a bit more. The place that's already not as tight can just stay into that position. Pose like this is never an achievement. It's more of an enjoyment opportunity. Let's all come up. Slowly lifting yourselves away from your mat and taking both of your legs forward. And then that soft movement. Okay. So from here, a little bit of opening. I want you to extend your legs forward. I'm going to do it sideways and open them into a V. And again, have your firm blocks in front of you. So just blending together inner thighs and the back of your legs, but in holding the position, hands behind your buttocks and tuck them back, just to ensure that your hips are neutral. Sometimes hips tilt back or too far forward. You want to have that hugging in. And lift your arms up just to make sure that your body stays long. And then hinge yourselves forward and down. So your forearms can be onto the firm block on its highest level, whichever level. But as we've done before, we were in reverse before, keep your toes towards your shins. It's almost like your heels are reaching away. And then this time your head just hangs. Your shoulders slide apart. See if you can have your thighs relaxed. And so the softness of your thighs will almost be a reflection to the softness of the back of your hamstrings. And then into this pose, stay exactly as you are, but allow your feet to relax. So your toes will go a little bit more away from your shins, just putting that complete passiveness to your legs. Already achieve the alignment by your toes towards your shin, and then just allow it to relax. And get you to grow up. Bring yourselves back into sitting upright. Hands behind the back of your knees, lift them up. And then I'm going to get you to lay down onto your back. And if you want to have anything for Shavasana, we're not going to be there right now, but if you want to have your blanket nearby, or if you like to have a pillow or a bolster behind the back of your knee, have that nearby. And just lay down onto your back. Have your strap with you. I'm just going to give a little bit more of the lengthening of the legs. So with the strap, I want you to have your knees bent and your feet on the ground. And place the strap under the ball of your left foot. And then lift it up to vertical. So keep your right knee bent and just consciously neutralizing of your hips. So you have that equal length on both sides of your torso. And then your strap independently right in your left hand. And walk your hands up the strap. So your head will be right off the mat. Walking up as high as you can. And then I want your hands to slide down the mat as you lower your head down. Keep your hands sliding down until you have that back surface of your shoulder blades onto your mat. And just the settling. Caring for your lower back, you can keep your right knee bent. Or sometimes I just lower it down halfway. Or you have the option of lowering it down all the way. This pose, we're focusing more on the lengthening of the back of your lifted leg and the neutralizing of the hip. So just find that alignment to keep yourselves neutral and then just enjoy. The back of our leg is probably already a little bit longer than before. And again, hold the strap independently right in your left hand. So both of your hands are holding the strap if you can. Make sure your eyes sink. And then back center of your head is onto the mat. And keeps your neck equal length. And then just a changing, lift your opposite leg up. And nicely, so both of your legs will be vertical and just changing. So now the strap is under the ball of your right foot. Bend your left knee and lower your foot down. So as we've done on the other side, walk your hands up your strap. See if you can almost get your nose towards your knee. And then sliding down, just sliding down the ladder. Right to the point that that whole back surface of your body is onto your mat. So you've got that blending together of lengthening and lifting of your leg, with a sense of descending in ease to the front of your leg. And then choose the position of your left leg, bent partway down or all the way down. And almost a little bit of a wiggling to make sure you have that whole back surface of your hips onto your mat. Your body is long, your leg extended. You're going to lift your left leg up. So both of your legs are vertical, both feet underneath the strap. From here, keep your legs long. I want you to open your legs into a V. So you've got the strap holding them. If you don't have a strap that long, you can just place your hands on your outer thighs and really working on the lengthening and the extending. And sometimes it's nice even doing a little bit of rocking side to side. Again, strap or hands. So it's that same variation as we had done when we were folded forward into a V. But now gravity is in directing of the top of your thigh bones into your hip socket. Draw your legs back together, your knees bent, and hug them into your chest. So let's go into bridge pose. So I'm going to get everyone to have one of your firm blocks with you. Knees are bent, so you're directing your heels towards your sitting bones, not touching, but at least make sure you don't have that space. It's more that working on the verticalness of your shins. And then walk your shoulder blades together. Now, as you press the back surface of your upper back down, lift your hips up. And then slide the firm block underneath your sacrum. So I don't want it over your buttocks. I don't want it touching your lower back. Just wiggle around to find that support. And then lower your arms down to rest. So they can be just off the mat to give you that space. Give a little bit more ease of the lengthening of your back. Now there's lots of options. You can keep your knees bent or just walk your feet a little farther forward. So slowly opening and lengthening the front of the body. Keeping them slightly bent is more comfort. Your lower back, stay like that. Always have the option of walking your feet forward so your legs are extended or slightly bent, giving the opportunity of the lengthening of your body, but care for your lower back. Sometimes extending them too far forward gives a little pinching of the lumbar part of your spine. So sort of find that variation. There's the opening, but still the settling. And allow the settling of the front of your torso to your lower back. And your breath. Take them back into the rhythm of the waves as we did at the start of the class. Slow balance of filling right to the top, and a slow emptying right to the last drop. Slowly walk your feet back to the firm block. And then, as always, press down all four sides of your feet to lift your hips up and just take the firm block off to the side. Keep your feet down onto the mat. So I want you to have each one of your vertebrae, each one of your ribs settling onto the mat. And then bring your knees together, feet on the mat, but walk your feet to the outer edge of the mat. And just allow the settling. So as your knees are together, your feet apart, gives just a little bit of inner layers at the back of your hips to open. Now draw your knees in towards your chest, and we're going to go into the happy baby. So take your hands between your knees and hold onto the outer edge of the feet. And just rock side to side. It's almost like a different variation as when we were in Malasana, sitting onto our firm blocks. Our knees are towards the pit of our arms. And this time the support of your hands. But your hands are almost as if they were the floor. Just a different variation. But enjoying the length and the settling of the whole back length of your spine. And then we're going to go from here into Shavasana. So draw your knees in and settle your feet onto your mat. And if you have a firm block, you can lay it over the front of your body. Almost like I often say, it's like a cape. Or not, depending which variation. Or the strap perhaps be just over your legs. So as you lower your legs down, have your feet just off the mat. So you can have a little bit more space. And your hands just settle down by your side. Either onto the mat or just off. This is the start of our class. Stillness of your eyes. Settling of your body. Gliding of your breath. And the smoothness and the softness of your skin. Press the whole length of your body. Make sure there's no tightness that has arrived between your eyebrows. Just a soft sealing of your lips. Invite your breath a little deeper. Bring yourselves in awareness. And in slow movements of your fingers and your toes. As you draw your next breath in, allow it to pour even deeper, allowing the expansion of your belly, breathing into all four sides of your torso, filling right to the top. And just sigh in your exhale. Slow bending of your knees, walking them in, and then rolling over to lay onto your right side. Your head rests onto your upper arm. Again, that hug knees into your chest and giving space through the back of your body. And the comfort and the warmth through the front. And then slowly press your left hand down. Bring yourselves into sitting upright. And sit in a position of comfort. Your legs can be crossed, one shin in front of the other, or extended. And bring yourselves into sitting tall, your eyes closed. Lift your shoulders up to your ears. Give yourselves that growing. And stay sitting tall as your shoulders descend down. Bring your palms together and into heart center. And continue with the growing, the lengthening of your spine, but just the soft bowing of your head. And knowing the root of goodness as it lays in the soil. And that appreciation of the goodness and the growing. I wish you namaste.